Hello and welcome to the Vanguard of Light. Dark forces are real and how to use that for your benefit. All right, so we're going to talk about today. So lots of developments happening over here in vibration or on vibration shift. Real interesting dynamic. I'm back, as you can tell. I'm inside. Look, I'm in the building and I'm in my hometown, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I was born. So it's kind of like dealing with all those childhood patterns and inside a building. It's so interesting and unique. It actually has been extremely growth oriented, and it's also shown all the base level work and what happens with that. And that's kind of leads into what we're talking about is the latest development. Well, really working on shields. I'm keeping shields up, keeping them high. Before I had it where I was I'd have the shield up using a warp gate. I mean, it can be like a 30-minute shield, have it up in seconds because of the warp gate. So I was like, well, let me more consistently keep it at 100%. So I was thinking if it's under, if it doesn't drop all the way, it's still blocking stuff. But it turns out there's different layers to it, and it's what it's blocking. So when it starts going under 100% full shield, there is stuff that's getting through. There is stuff that's still attacking you, still getting in, still interfering with your field. And shields is just one way. There's multiple different dynamics with that. But I was like, let me really focus on shield. And that's when things really started changing to where keeping the shields consistently at 100. It's kind of almost making that declaration, I'm not gonna be messed with. I'm not allowing myself to be distorted and bothered, and it allows you to really focus on what's your stuff, what you need to deal with versus what things are getting projected onto you. So that's kind of the dynamic of having a real powerful shield while you're working on your stuff. So this was the next level. I'm in the city, so it's coming this level. Definitely more intense, more of an attack because you're in an inversion field or stronger inversion field, especially the regional inversion field, because it's kind of co-created with the people. So you have a lot more people that are all experiencing their inversion, kind of creates this regional entity that also kind of looks who's popping up and pushes them down. So there's more hitting my shield. I was noticing that there's more hitting my shield. It was getting up to attacks of about 10 different attacks simultaneously. See my shield drop, and I'll bring it back up, shield drop, bring it back up. And I was kind of getting I'm kind of getting annoyed with my shield going down. There's that frustration of why are you targeting me, right? And I'm thinking, well, wait a second. That attacks is because there's something resonating in me that they can attack. And I was like, ooh, now this is an enlightenment opportunity. Their attack is now showing a place where I can improve. It's a place where I could ascend. So I'm like, oh, this is awesome. You're attacking my shield, but the only way, a lot of, if you don't have it in you, that they can't even attack. It's just passes right through, doesn't even attack, doesn't hit a shield. But there is something that they can attack, and that's what they're coming after. Now it's they're giving you that view. They're giving you that place that you need to ascend, that you could lift up, that you wouldn't necessarily know, right? So you're using their kind of supernatural ability to say, oh, where is there a weakness? And that's why I'm gonna come at you. Your shield gives you that buffer. It shows you, otherwise it would just attack and you feel it and you just feel crummy or whatever. You think it's your fault, you did it, whatever, when it's actually an external. A lot of times it is an internal when you're beating yourself up. And that's the thing is once you start working on yourself more and you start rising up, then the external attacks will increase. And that's what I was noticing big time. The less and less you're beating yourself up, then they kind of balance it and they'll start pushing you down. So it's a really distinction of are you beating yourself up or is it something external? And they seem very the same because that's what they do. They want to do just enough to attack you to where you then self-invert and start attacking yourself and make it something wrong with you, because then you're doing all the work. And then they can back off and then you can't see them attacking you because they're not, because you're doing it. It's very sneaky. But once you clear that out, if you go through the Freedom Through Safety course, version 1, oh my gosh, it way clears that out and also gets you engaged in the game to where you can now start facing that there are external things attacking you. That's scary. It's freaky. But once you get that base level that you're safe, now you can start being okay, so you're attacking me. How can I utilize this? And this is the best thing of how to utilize it. It's so cool. Because now their attacks are telling you a place to improve, right? So noticing that there's 10 attacks, and I was okay, what can I do? So I built a warp gate, another warp gate, that then basically was going in and seeing hey, where are they attacking me? And then first, how can I clear that out myself? And then also almost an inoculation to that attack to where they can't come attack again. Well, it worked amazingly, and then they ramped up the attack. So today, I think they had 6,300 different avenues of attack, which I'm noticing the ramp up is increasing because I'm doing the war pace to where like, okay, you attacked me 6,000 times. What are those 6,000 points that you can come in at? Clear that out. Now they have to do a new 6,000. So it's like definitely ramping up my ascension. So they have to ramp up, the attacks to kind of contain it. So, but it's positive and negatives to that. I was kind of getting upset with that because they were coming hard. This week has been an intense week. I actually had, I don't have them here. I have a big set of keys that got demanifested from my hands as I walked into the apartment, which I have recovered 3 days later. That's a whole nother story. But what I was noticing with that, even when it's like you're really feeling it, you're feeling in it. If you've got a big mission, they're definitely coming for you. That's for sure. They got to keep you down. But when you're really in it, you still reach up. You still reach the source, reach to move forward. That's when you're driving it deep. I make an analogy to working out. That's the last couple of reps, So when you're in that place, it does not feel good. You need all the different pieces to help you pull through that, instead of to really crash down of realize that intensity, one, you can survive it. Just think, everything that's happened in your life so far, you've survived. All that stuff that you've gone through, you survived and made it to this point. So you reaffirm that hey, wait, I have survived everything they've thrown at me, right? And the next part is realize that just even the attempt, even you're not necessarily gonna feel excited and boosted and awesome, amazing, but even just that attempt of I'm gonna lift up out of this. I'm going to connect source. I'm gonna find the positive. Even just that intent is driving that intention deep to when things lighten up and back off, you're gonna have built that muscle. You're gonna have that extra strength to run faster. So just know that in your mind, even you're not necessarily gonna be feeling all excited and boosted and amazing, oh, I summited, but know that when it's really crashing on you, your intent to push forward, pull it out of it, all that is really adding up. You're not necessarily gonna feel it in that moment, but it's super adding up. And then these are all these things you just need when you're in the moment, when you're feeling it. To realize wait, I have survived all this stuff before. Then that, hey, wait, I'm making amazing progress. It will not feel like progress in that moment. That's okay, it doesn't need to. But just know that, hey, I'm making progress because it's that last couple of reps of lifting. That's when you feel it the most. And you're in the moment of feeling it the most. And that's when you're gonna make the most progress. And you don't beat yourself up of oh, I have to feel fantastic. No, you don't. You're feeling it, you're feeling the intensity of it, and you're pushing against it. No, I'm not gonna accept that reality. I'm not gonna accept what is in my 3D reality telling me that I'm less than, not worthy, not lovable, whatever it is that's averting your being. You're no, I'm gonna choose something different. And you're not gonna need to be doing it 100% because it's coming at you super hardcore. If everything was easy, then yeah, you wanna be at 100%. But if it's crushing down hard, then even at 10%, even the tension of I can't do it, but I'm gonna just try a little blip. Is gonna make huge progress. So remember that in your mind when you're going through it of wait, no, this is the time where I'm gonna make the most progress. And then finally, if it's really coming at you, it feels oh man, it's coming at you, kind of I was saying the 3,600 attacks. I'm man, I remember, one of the bonuses, I remember when I was getting attacked by 10 and it was whew, it was beating my shields up, and now they're attacking at 6,300 and they're barely getting through. It's still, they're still beating on that. But I was thinking but the difference is now they're having an attack with 6,300. And that means, because dark forces are not unlimited. That means when before they only had to attack with 10 to hold me back, and now they're attacking with 6,000, how many other people are getting a pass? How many other people are having less attack there? Because living downtown, you see a lot homeless people or other people that might have a mental illness, and they're struggling, they're hurting. And if for somehow I'm getting a couple more attacks and they're getting less, well, that lifts me up. That just I just feel amazing to think that if I could possibly be giving them a little bit less, because I'm blessed. My life is blessed, amazingly blessed, and definitely in comparison to what they're facing. The versions of I've been through a lot, but I'm on the other side of it. I'm living a blessed life. And just to think that it could possibly help them by shine your light brighter so then the dark forces do focus on you, because possibly there's somebody else that has just really been beaten down, that you're gonna take an attack for them. You're gonna help them, that they get a couple less ones. And then maybe they'll rise up, and it could just be, they're probably have got amazing gifts to release, and that's why they have to be beat down that much. So if you could just shine your light to where you can take a little bit off of them, who knows what would happen. They could bring forth the most next amazing technology ever, and you'll contribute to that because you're taking some of the attacks. So that's just the benefit of using the dark forces. One, if you go through the freedom through safety, you'll get that standard safety to where I can come up and show up for this. But then also when you progress, getting the warp gates to where they can attack, and then you can also use that 3600 or that 6300 vehicles or avenues of attack to then clear your field more. Clear it to where that's not another way in which they're going to attack you. And then you can enjoy just easier and easier and take a heavier load. I mean, they're still gonna, be like, oh man, we gotta send 10,000 at them. However, it's not necessarily gonna put you destabilized. You're still gonna be able to handle that. But they'll have to, almost like counter, they have to hold that light in. But man, if that's 9,990 attacks on someone else that they're not having to deal with, that's helping them out. How cool is that? I mean, if you can handle the weight, help somebody out that can't. Because there's a lot of people that can't handle that weight and they're really hurting. And if we could lift their burden, we're the vanguard of light here. If we can help lift their burden, it helps everybody. So hopefully that helps. Yes, dark forces are real, but you can still use that for your benefit. There's always, Source always puts a flip. No matter what bad happens, it's not oh, it's for your good. God, Source, Universe puts a flip in there. Puts something that's what's a thing to look at of okay, I'm having this reversal, but where is there that nugget that Source left me? Because Source is flipping it. Whatever dark forces do, Source is putting a little nugget in here to flip it, to make you better, to make it a win for you. It's not so much that it's meant to happen this way and you're supposed to get beat up like that. It's not. But Source is loving and puts in okay, if you're gonna attack one of mine, I'm gonna put something where you're attacked and then you reversed and become much better. So hopefully you get that. Hopefully it gives you a couple little pieces, to where how to move forward, how to survive those attacks. Realize they're real, it's true, right? And a lot of times, the more you clear out what's going on in you, the more it's gonna be an external. And you do your best not to beat yourself up, because that's gonna be the intent. The intent is to be well, there's something wrong with you. That's why you're getting attacked. Look how stupid you are. Look how dumb you are. Look how blah, 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 blah. That's their intent. The intent is to get that. Just notice that. And even if you can't, fully pull yourself out of that, just know the attempt to pull yourself. Even the attempt to push back. I know it seems real, but I'm gonna at least push a little bit. It's not real. Even if it's in your own mind of no, I see a positive in my mind. I know you got my 3D reality going crazy, but in my mind, I'm gonna see some light. I'm gonna see some positive. And that makes huge strides. And then also knows that whatever is on your shoulders or on your back, you're possibly lifting a burden for someone else, especially if it's coming hard on you. Possibly someone else is getting a break, because dark forces are not unlimited. So the more they put on you, someone else is getting a break, and just realize that, at least someone's getting a break. I'm not getting one, but someone else is. And hopefully that helps you, feel like you can justify the pain, the uncomfort, be okay, at least someone else. Because it's all about, you can use that to lift you up. Not that most joyous thing, but you still use it as a win. So hopefully that helps. And until we talk again, have a blessed day or a blessed night.